So these are the 7 most powerful strategies to get rid of that frustrating slice that you've probably had for years and you finally want to do something about it. And before you do anything with grip or technique at anything, it starts here, either on the course or even at the range before you step up and hit the ball. And a lot of the time, what I've experienced asking a lot of slicers what they think about is exactly this. They're standing up there going, don't go to the right. This is if you're a right-hander. Or if you're a left-hander, don't go to the left. Don't slice it. Don't hit it into the trees on the right. And that's exactly what happens. It all starts in here a little bit. So we all get negative comments or stuff that comes into our mind. That's okay. We want to let them come in, let them go out. But if we can start to flip what we think about from a negative to a positive, it's amazing how much that can change the quality of your shot. So instead of going, oh, don't slice it to the right, we can go, okay, let's just try and hit a little curve left to right, down to the left side of the fairway or something like that. Just something that's a little bit more powerful, a bit more positive, where you can start to get that result. And this is really number one. This is, again, before anything that you hit the golf ball, before you change your grip, your path or anything like that, is just changing your mindset just a little bit before you step up to hit the ball. So this is something we want to start with behind the ball. Maybe even as you get just over the ball, just thinking about what you want more to happen instead of what we don't want to happen. So if we start to think about what we don't want, then things like don't slice it, then our brain is just going to remember slice, 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 or right, right, right. Or if you're a left-hander, left, 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 slice, slice, slice as well. So we want to be able to change a little bit of our mindset. Everything sort of starts here first before anything will start to work in changing grip or technique or anything like that. So this is number one. This is crucial. You could do all the other things, change your grip, change your path, but if you're still thinking about don't go right, if you're a right-hander, or don't slice to the left if you're left-hander, really nothing is going to change. So start to change the way you think about before you step up to the ball, and it's going to make wonders on the range first, and then as you start to get onto the golf course. Okay, so number 2 on our list is our alignment. And what I'm talking about here is probably something you haven't thought about before, but when we set up here, where the golf ball is in terms of where our target is very different in orientation or perception to where our eye line is, because it's so much closer to our body. So when we're setting up, you can always set up something. So you might be on the driving range. This is going to be a bit difficult to do. But even if what you could do is you could set up, say, a golf ball and just throw it a little bit in front of you to where you might be aiming to a bit of a target. So when you're standing behind the ball here, we want to, and I've got the noodle here to help a little bit, being on the camera, is I've got it lined up here perfectly straight to my target in the distance, which is sort of in the middle of the house. So, but when I set up here, my eye line, it looks like my target now is way over to the right. So what happens a lot is because our eye line is closer to our body line, it's actually going to feel like we're actually aiming more to the left a lot of the time. And this gets even worse when we're using our driver as well. So we get even further. If I put the ball up on the tee, now the club's longer, we're even further here. So for me setting up, the target looks like it's way to the right, even way more to the right of the house in the distance here. So one of the things you can do when you're practicing is, as I said, throw in a bit of a golf ball out in front here to start to get the idea of where we want the ball to start. So one of the things that causes a lot of slices is the club coming over the top like that and the club going to the left. So almost what's happening subconsciously is we're swinging a little bit to where our eyes are looking. So subconsciously, we're not aware of this, but our brains are pretty smart and they know this. So when we start to set up, we want to start to look a little bit more to the right. And what that's going to help to do is just start to make it a bit easier to actually swing in that direction and get your ball started on that line as well. So this is where, and when you do this little experiment, and you'll have to probably do it at a driving range, is, as I said, setting up a little bit of an intermediate target there. And when you set up here, it's going to seem very different from standing behind the ball to when your position becomes set up to the ball, whether you're using an iron, and even when you get into the driver as well. So again, the ball, the noodle, looks so far to the right. If we can start getting your eyes looking towards there, that's going to really help, especially for the next couple of parts in our strategies to get rid of your slice, is really being able to train your eyes to look more to the right, and that's going to have a big impact on the path of your swing. Number 3 on our list is the grip position. So this plays a huge part in the starting direction of the golf ball. So for most slicers that I see, we're going to talk about right-handed golfers first. Their left-hand position is usually in what we would call a very weak position. And this is not how tight you're holding the club or anything, but it's the direction that the thumb is going. It's going, pointing a little bit towards the left shoulder. And this soft part of your hand there is usually sitting to the side or even underneath of the handle. And what this wants to do, the hand actually wants to get a bit this way, and it actually leaves the club face open quite a lot. And that's why you're getting those slicing shots. We're usually hitting the ball with an open club face. So one of the things we want to be able to change, and this might feel a little bit different. So this is what it's going to probably look like for a right-handed golfer. If you're a left-handed golfer and you're swinging obviously this way, it's probably going to look a little bit like this, where your thumb is trailing up directly towards your right shoulder. So we're going to start with a right-handed golfer. Our goal is to really see if we can start to take your hand more from looking like this to more looking like this. So there's a couple of things here that have happened. First of all, the soft part of the hand here has really gotten on the top of the handle, like so. And the next part now is we've got the thumb pointing in towards the middle of the right shoulder. And now I've got quite a bit of a different angle between my forearm and the back of my hand here. So when you were doing it incorrectly before, we tend to get this part becomes a lot straighter. Now we change that position, we're going to get almost the back of your hand here pointing up towards the sky a little bit there, like so. So we've got a different angle for your arm and then for your hand there. So you should start to see maybe 2, even 3 knuckles on your left hand. So again, because you're slicing it, you're going to be opening the club face a lot. Now, if you're a left-handed golfer, we're going to do this obviously with the right hand. So from here, it looks pretty much the same. So we've got the soft part of the hand now resting very much on the top of the handle instead of on the side, like so. We've got the thumb pointing in towards the middle of your left shoulder. And again there, we've got that big angle between, if we draw a line with your arm, and then a different angle with the back of your right hand. So again, the back of the right hand is pointing up to the sky instead of to the side, and maybe even down to the ground a little bit as well. So this is number 3, getting the grip a little bit stronger. That's usually one of the reasons why you're going to be slicing the ball, because the club face is going to be opening up as you're making contact. So if you can start to get your hand position more like this if you're a right-handed golfer, more like this as you're a left-handed golfer, that's going to solve one of the biggest issues, is squaring up that club face and even getting it a little bit closed as you make contact. So the next one is number 4, and this relates to the driver. And this is where, for most golfers, their slicing journey starts is with this club on the tee box. So one of the things that is common with slicers is obviously the ball usually starts either straight or a little bit to the left, and even low as well. So it goes on a bit of a low to high journey. And one of the things I notice a lot with slicers who do that is their tee height with their driver is quite low. So what I mean by that is when they're setting up their driver, their top of their driver can be above the top of the golf ball. And what that's going to do is promote a downward strike on the ball. And that's easier when we do that with the driver to swing to the left. The ball starts out low and then slices to the right. So one of the things you can really start to do with the driver is tee the ball up. Now this tee is very high here. Sometimes you might have a tee on the range this high or even just a little bit lower. But your goal is generally to have about half the ball above the top of the driver and below the bottom of the driver, or the top part there. So again, our goal, this one's a little bit higher, but if we've got sort of about half the ball above the top of the driver, that's going to be a good starting point there. If your ball is sort of there, it's generally going to be a little bit too low and promote a downward strike on the ball, making you swing to the left and then slicing the ball out to the right. So the reason why we want to do this is the goal is to see if we can start to get the ball getting high on its first launch when it's going up. So instead of launching really low, we want to get that ball going up pretty quickly. And one of the advantages of that is that's actually going to help you start to swing more from the inside to be able to do that. So that's one of the things that's going to help start to get the club face a little bit squarer, but also getting your path coming from the inside. So again, with slicers, they come very much this way and the ball slices out to the right. So again, starting to get that ball higher, even a little bit more towards that left foot, is going to be able to get you getting that club coming more from the inside with the tee height. So one little thing as well I want you to check is if you're setting up, is just to make sure the ball is not getting on the outside of your left foot. So once again, that can make it easy to come down like this if your ball position is getting too much on the left side of your foot like so. So again, we generally want to get the ball a little bit on the inside of your heel, and again, that's going to make it a bit easier to get the club from the inside and getting the ball going high when you first hit it, getting it launching high instead of low. So if you can tee the ball up and start to get the ball launching higher, that is going to help square up your club face and get your club coming more from the inside, reducing that slice. Number 5 on our list is now really working on the swing path. So we've gone through a bit of the grip position, the orientation with our target, and now we're going to work really on the swing path. So we've teed the ball up as well, and we're going to do this swing path drill, and this really applies for really the driver only. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start to do a drill here where our goal is to be able to go like this. So we're sort of getting the club going in a little bit of a loop like so. So we're going forward, we're going here, I'll just turn around this way, so we're going this way, and a little bit like this, just to start. And then what we're going to do is see if you can do that on the backswing. So we've done that there, and now our goal is that we can start to do it here. So generally for slices, they're going to be doing the opposite loop. They're going to be like this, cutting across the ball and the ball slicing from left to right. So what our goal is now, so once we've done that forward position, now our goal is to start to get this position here. We're really trying to get a big loop here. Don't worry, you actually won't be really doing that. All you're doing is you're actually in your swing is stopping you doing that reverse loop like so. So let me demonstrate. So in terms of setting up, now we want to, anytime we're doing a little bit of a swing change or we're trying to change our path or whatever it is, we have to start swinging slowly first. If you're swinging really fast, you just won't be able to make the change. Your brain, your body's going to be working on the autopilot, and you're just going to be doing the same thing. So again, we can start to go through here. We're just doing a little bit of that loop just to start to train our brain and our muscles. And then what we're doing is we're setting up and we're just starting to imagine we're doing a little bit of the same thing here. Now, a little bit earlier, we talked about the grip position as well. So we want to make sure the grip position is like this, and this is going to start to help with the club face as well. So generally, as you're coming through to hit the ball, the club face is opening up. So we have to combine a little bit of this drill here and starting to get the hands working over, especially in the last couple of feet before we start to come through the ball, is start to see if we can get a little bit of that rolling over with the wrists, but even with the left hand. Most people are obviously right-handed. If you're a left-handed golfer, it's the opposite. So from here, once we start to do that, our goal is to start to see if we can get a bit of that loop happening like so. And you might even find when you're doing that, you might even start to get a little bit of a draw. So we want to start with a bit of a slower swing first before you ramp up the speed a little bit again. So in terms of your drill position, taking your position, we just start to go a little bit like this. So you can really see that, and then we're moving into this position here. So what that helps to do is swing more to the right. Like so. Once again, slices, we know you're swinging to the left all the time. So again, once we start to get this angle here and we start to use the advantage of that new position with your hand, your lead hand, with the grip starting to close that club face, we might even start to see the ball starting a bit left, maybe even with a little bit of a draw. But the key is here, starting with a slow swing first. If you start setting up and you start doing fast swings, you're not going to be able to change. So if you can start to do that, practice that drill here, going there, closing the club face as you go through, that is really going to start to help you with those slow swings, start to hit the ball straighter, maybe even with a little bit of a draw. All right, so number 6 is great to practice for the irons. You can do a little bit with the driver as well, but this is a great one for the iron. So I'm just starting out with a short iron first, just this 9-iron pitching wedge is really good. And we're going to take your setup. So again, you're slicing your driver, you're going to probably be slicing your long irons, your fairway woods, probably even getting a little bit of a shape with your shorter irons as well. But we're going to start off with a shorter iron first, just to make this a little bit easier. Now, I've got the ball on the grass, but even at your range or maybe even at home, if you've got a little short tee, this can make this drill a little bit easier when you first start doing it. Again, we're going to be swinging pretty slowly. So in terms of our setup position, we know that a lot of golfers, they go a bit inside, but they get back to here and then they do this position like that. So their hip goes straight back and we get the right shoulder coming out. Again, that's why we slice. So this drill with the irons, again, I'm going to be swinging really slow. Again, you can use a little tee just to make it a bit easier, because making perfect contact's not easy doing a slow swing. But we're just going to see if you can go to the top of your backswing, just a comfortable position. So we're going to do basically step 1. The next step is just to practice bringing the arms down like so. So remember, most slicers, they get their arms going out in that direction. So our goal is to get there and let the arms come down just a little bit, maybe just a foot or so like so. And then we're just going to very slowly swing through. Now I hope you do a better shot than I just did. That's okay. So it's not easy to do where you swing down and swing through. So again, we're just taking our setup position. We're just going to swing back to a comfortable position. Just come down, let the arms drop, and then swing through like so. And even there I started to get a little bit of a draw. Even my natural shape is probably a little bit of a fade. So again, using a little tee will just make it a bit easier to make that nice contact with the ball. And one of the advantages of this as well is when we drop the arms, we tend to get a little bit of a slight hip bump towards the target. Now for most slicers, what happens, because they're trying to get their body involved, they get the hip going back too early, their lead hip like so. If you're a right-hander, if you're a left-hander, your hip is going back like this too early. So there is actually just a little bit of a slide first before the lead hip starts to go like so. And so again, the mistake that most slicers get is they get to there and they do that a lot. So again, we're just going back as far as you can that's comfortable, just down a little bit and then just through like so. And I'm getting a tiny little draw there when my natural shape is a little bit of a fade. So that is a great drill to start with. Again, 3 easy steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, like so. And by getting the arms coming down here, again, that's going to help promote a little bit of a more in-to-out path, again with a good grip position that's going to help to close that club face to start getting the ball going straighter or minimizing your slice, but even maybe getting a touch of a little draw. So that's step number 6. That's really a great drill for the irons, and even one that you can use for your driver as well. Maybe even a little bit easier with the driver because you're using a high tee, but if you're using your irons to start, just tee it up a little bit, and that's just going to make contact much easier to do. So the final step in our 7 powerful ways we can change or get rid of that slice is on the golf course now. So all the other steps, it doesn't mean anything until we can do it on the golf course. So we've gone through your mindset, what to think about before you hit the golf ball. We've gone through how to start to see how alignment and where our ball position is and where we should be looking can really affect by looking more to the right. We've gone through strengthening your grip position if you're a right-handed golfer. If you're a left-handed golfer, a little bit more in this position here. We've gone through the drill for your driver, so doing this and doing that to try and get more of an in-to-out path. We've had the tee. We've teed the ball up with the driver to make that a little bit easier to get that club swinging more to the right. So now the time is here. We've also done the one for the iron as well and the driver, which is getting back here, letting the arms drop down, and then swinging through as well. That's really going to help for the irons, a bit with the driver also. But now, what do we do when we get to the golf course? So hopefully from what you've done with the previous 6 powerful strategies, it's going to start to really help when we get to the golf course. And again, it doesn't mean anything if we can't do it on the golf course. So what should we do when we get here? Well, again, we can start to think about what we want to happen. And then here, first of all, our goal is to really aim away for the trouble. So for slicers, obviously, if you're right-handed, the trouble is all on the right. If you're left-handed, the trouble is all on the left. So one of the number 1 things you can do is start to aim a little bit more to the away from the trouble. And then again, like we talked about on the shot, on the range when we were doing our alignment, is start to get our vision looking more to the right. So even though you might be aiming to the left side of the target if you're a right-handed golfer, we want your vision to start looking out to the right. That will help with your starting line, getting the club swinging more into out, and even starting to square up that club face as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the tee box and put this all together. So I've got my tee set up. I'm pretty much in the center, which is probably going to work for most golfers. Tough hole here. So for your right-handed golfers, it's water on the right. For the left-handed golfers, it's OB on the left. So ringing alarm bells for our slicers out there. So again, for the right-handers, what we want to do is aim away from the trouble as much as we can in terms of our alignment with our body, but we're going to change where the eyes are pointing. So after we've done our setup, so remembering from step number 2, where we're setting up and where the ball is launching is way more to the right than where we generally are looking. So once we've done our setup position here, even though I'm aiming at the left side of the fairway as a right-hander, my eyes are actually looking out more to the middle of the fairway here. So this is again going to make it easier subconsciously for me to swing more this way and less that way as well. It works the same for the left-hander, so I'll just spin around here. So again, I'm going to be aiming more to the right side of the fairway, but my eyes are going to be looking out towards the middle or maybe even the left side of the fairway here again. So eyes can play tricks on us, give us illusions, and this can really help you to swing with a better path, screw up that club face and hit that ball as straight as well. So probably one of the things you hate is seeing pro golfers say, oh, you have to do that, and then stepping up and hitting a beautiful shot. So, but the things that we've gone through are really going to help you to start getting your club face squarer, swinging more from the inside and hitting that ball straighter. So again, starting behind here, we always want to aim away from the trouble because our goal is to reduce penalties, reduce double bogeys, triple bogeys that really make our scores go up very quickly. So again, if we can aim away from the trouble as much as we can, so I'm aiming at the bunkers on the left, but my eyes are looking down the middle or even a little bit to the right of the center of the fairway, that's going to give me the best chance of at least keeping the ball in play and minimizing your slice, maybe getting a bit of a fade, maybe straight, maybe even a little bit of a draw if you're lucky. So after we've done all those practices, hopefully we can hit it down the middle of the fairway or somewhere like that, and that's going to help you to start reduce those scores, hit the ball more in the fairway and be a much happier golfer.